Hello everybody, my name is Necroxis. We have one cinematic left. I actually didn't think that there would be any more cinematics, but this is the Alliance one at the very end of their storyline, which has to do with spoilers, obviously, but this is basically after the Jaina cinematic that kind of broke me that we reacted to yesterday. This is the very end of the Alliance storyline. You have to have done all three of the zones, so be warned, we're going to be talking about how any of that is related to whatever we're going to see. Also, because I think this is actually the last cinematic in 8.0. Maybe there's one in Uldir or something that's not out yet, but we're also going to be talking about these cinematics as a whole, all of them, including the Horde ones, how they relate to each other, the comparisons that are being drawn between the two factions, which I assume they've done in the past with the other ones, and I assume it's going to come back in this one. So here we go. This is, again, spoilers. This is after Jaina has been saved by you and her mother from Thros, the Blighted Lands, and she has returned. And Kul Tiras either has already joined the Alliance or is about to join the Alliance. I'm not entirely sure, based on where this actual cutscene takes place. And I assume this is probably based on the events and some of the dungeons and the endgame stuff, Lady Ashvane's attack on Borealis. If I had to guess, maybe Jaina uses her storm stave of Lei Shen to destroy all the ships or something. But we're gonna watch it, so here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. See, this is after that Jaina stuff.
Our harbor defenses won't be enough.
Father's pendant.
For generations, the heart of the Kul Tiran fleet. I thought that hope had returned with this seal. That perhaps I could call the fleet home, as your father did.
They need the necklace to bring the fleet home?
I was wrong. It was never meant for me.
Because the fleet's kind of lost at sea at the moment due to the Tide Sages. Yeah, this is the pirate navy. Yeah, Lady Ashvane and her Azeroth pendant. What are you gonna do, Jaina?
There you are.
Stormstave? They remember that, actually?
We're home, Tandred! Captain! Pirates in our harbor! All hands! Let's show them what Kul Tirans are made of!
Tandred Proudmoore! Jaina's brother! He's not canon after all!
Lady Ashvane! Your orders! Lady Ashvane!
Yeah, get fucked, Ashvane! Oh my god! They don't even fight, they just give up! Fuck yeah!
It seems hope has returned. With you, Lord Admiral.
Oh, come on! Come on! That's a direct comparison to the Horde intro! Wow! Oh, that was great! There was the Alliance fuck yes moment. Right there. Awesome. So, the pendant actually is a thing that can be used to find the fleet? Is it like a magical focus? I guess because the fleet is missing. We don't actually know exactly where it is, unless I missed a sentence in a quest somewhere in Stormsong Valley. But because the Tide Sages, most of them, threw their lot in with Lord Stormsong and Azara, they kind of get the fleet lost, which leaves Kul Tiras open to attack by Azara and the Naga and whatever their plans are. So, I guess because Jaina kept the necklace from... It's interesting. What a chain of events. Jaina helps or stands aside as her father gets killed, takes the necklace that he wore. I don't know where. I guess because she gets it first in the comic, because it was on one of these swords that are in Theramore, but it was Theramore after the bomb. But so it's interesting. But either way, Jaina has her father's necklace through some means, and then brings it home, and now she can use it to call or find, either recall home or at least find the fleet, because she says, there you are, so I assume she, like, magically found where it was, and maybe that acts as kind of like a navigational beacon for the fleet to get back to Kul Tiras. And apparently either leading all the ships or leading the helm ship, which is kind of the same thing, is Tandred Prodmore, Jaina's other brother, who isn't Derek, and we thought was not canon, because he was from the RPG books, and Metzen, or somebody, I don't remember who exactly it was, said that all the RPG books just aren't canon, but they did leave the door open saying, you know, if we want to use stuff from them at some point, we will. But they did explicitly say at one point that Derek wasn't canon. We had some data mine stuff in the game suggesting that Tandred was actually in the game, but all he really did was kind of make a joke. The datum files we found kind of just implies that he just makes kind of a joke, that he says, not canon, but I'm not a canon, I'm a person, or something like that. But he actually was on the ships, and they were looking, and he was lost at sea. I don't remember if they tell us how long they've been lost, but they've been lost. Jaina uses some magical power to recall the ships home. And now that I think about it, it is very interesting. In Frozen Throne, in the Rexar bonus Orc campaign, when you actually fight Admiral Prodmore, he's kind of like a paladin who uses hydromancy. He has paladin abilities, but he also summons water elementals. He can use tidal wave attacks. And they've never really brought that idea into the Warcraft canon. That was just kind of the unit ability that they built for him in Frozen Throne. But, I mean, they don't really have to explicitly say that, because, you know, Kul Tiras is a sea nation. They have Tide Priests. His daughter, Jaina, is one of the most powerful mages ever, and she uses frost, which is water magic. It's to be assumed the leader of that nation would have some kind of hydromancy ability, and I like that it's kind of concentrated into the necklace, which, again, can somehow recall the fleet home, and it's just, that was great, and I really want to, so, I mean, they kind of just, they don't even fight, like, Ashvane's forces just give up, and so they're just done. Lady Ashvane herself might not be done in the storyline, for those who might know some things, but her threat to Borealis is done. She's been foiled. So it's cool, and I really want to begin drawing some comparisons between the storylines themselves as well as the cinematics between the Horde and the Alliance, because I think in the spectrum of them being nations, Kul Tiras and Zandalar were kind of on the opposite sides of a measurement of cohesiveness as a country. Stable and unstable. And the comparison isn't 100% perfect because both sides have inner conflicts going on, but looking at it at least from just the cinematic perspectives, the Alliance is beginning in Kul Tiras is Jaina's nightmare. It takes place at night. She sees the ghost of her dad, and she sees a memory of him and her on the same ship, where he talks about he'll never leave her, and then he turns into like a ghoulish monster and says, your mother will never forgive you. And then you show up in Kul Tiras, and Jaina gets immediately arrested, and it's clear Catherine basically says, I'm disowning you. And then you compare that to the Horde one, which is Talanji's awesome moment where she summons Razan, and she parts the clouds, and the entire navy of Zandalar is on the horizon and just decimate those 7 Alliance ships. And it's very much a disunity versus a Unity storyline going on at the beginning. Again, yes, there are comparisons to be made between, you know, in Kul Tiras, you have Lady Ashvane, you have the Storm Songs, you have the Waycrest, who basically all are evil. And then in Zandalar, you have, you know, Zool and General Jakrazet are basically evil as well. But that their plot lines and their reveals don't really happen until halfway through / the end of the storyline. Whereas in Kul Tiras, right out of the gate, shit's going bad. The country is like collapsing from within. Nobody knows where one of the house's leaders is even at. The Waycrests have just disappeared. Lord Stormsong is basically vanished into his monastery. And Lady Ashvane is spitting metaphorical poison in Catherine Proudmoore's ear, and nothing is being done. Pirates are running rampant. Whereas at least with Zandalar, and especially in the cinematic, it definitely seems like the might of Zandalar is on display from the very beginning. Now compare it to the end, where the most powerful navy in the entire world has been found. It's back. Kul Tiras is under the Alliance's banner. They are unified. Jaina's the leader of Kul Tiras now. The Alliance is like ready to go. Time to fight the Horde. Whereas the Horde, at the end of their storyline, Dazar Alor is attacked by Zool and Mithrax the Devourer, and the final seal of Gahun is destroyed. You know, Gahun, the prototype created old god-ish monster by the Titans, is about to be unleashed. King Rastakhan, in his desperation, makes a terrible bargain with Bwansamdi, does something really stupid that's eventually going to blow up in his face, and Zandalar's kind of in a mess right now. And it's very interesting to see those two compared, because I never felt this way, but I knew a lot of people who played the Alliance said as a whole they really hate that it seems like Kul Tiras is just kind of a mess and is lost. But I always thought, you know, for as much as I criticize the WoW storyline, they're not going to have the entire Alliance's storyline just be Kul Tiras is fucked, no matter what you do at the end of 8.0 it's fucked and it's not going to get better. I mean, obviously you're going to... I said it from the beginning, Jaina's going to be the leader. I didn't think Catherine would survive for that to happen. I thought she would die and Jaina would have to be the leader, but I'm happy that they're both alive. But Jaina becomes the leader. All the houses are united. Lucille Waycrest helps you kill her parents, so that problem's done. Lord Stormsong gets killed, and he gets basically replaced, and the Waycrests, or the Ashvanes, are kind of just like ostracized, and they're gone because they were evil. So, you know, Kul Tiras is united. So it's very interesting, the comparisons there, and I'm very curious going forward what's going to happen now. And I do want to stress to Horde people who might come out of Battle for Azeroth. I haven't heard this yet, but I know this complaint is coming soon. But Horde players who are coming out of the leveling process eventually going to say, like, oh, fuck, the Alliance is, like, more united than ever, and the Horde's kind of falling apart. Because, you know, the storyline mirrors a lot of what the Horde itself is going through. You know, Sarfang leaves at the very beginning of the war. Bane doesn't trust Sylvanas clearly. Even Nathanos' hesitation, and almost like he has to convince himself that it's an honor to serve the war chief in the beginning cinematic. But I would say, as much as I liked the Alliance one, it might even be a little bit more interesting to see where the conflict goes on the Horde storyline, because you have Rastakhan and Talanji's problem that they now have with Bwansamdi. You have Gahun. The Gahun raid is technically both factions, but it's really a Horde storyline. I mean, let's be honest, I'm hoping that the Ajara storyline is kind of like the Alliance version, even though the Horde is going to be able to do it, but everything about Uldir and Nazmir and Gahun and the Blood Trolls and, you know, the all of that is definitely way more of a Horde storyline than the Alliance storyline, which is fine. So, but they have a lot of very interesting things going for it. Zool's coming back to life in the raid. You know, Ajara, we didn't even talk about. She's threatening both factions behind the scenes because Zool's working with her. Lady Ashvane's working with her. She shows up in one of the dungeons. Well, at least her presence. You see her new model for the first time when she's talking to you at the end of the Shrine of the Storm. I think that's the first time you see her. That's what I recall. So Azar is coming. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen. They originally said 8.1, but they can shift all that stuff around. They could say, no, it's really 8.2 or 8.3, but who knows. So I've had a lot of problems with Battle for Azeroth mechanically, and I'm not going to change my mind just because I'm intrigued where the storyline's going to go for the first time in a long time, more than Legion ever was, I think. I'm intrigued what's going to happen next, more than anything that's ever happened in Legion, because the original 7.0 storyline was all about Illidan, who I didn't even like as a character, so I kind of just was not really caring about that. 7.2 was a garbage fire, both mechanically and as a story, and it didn't really get interesting even until Argus, which is when it finally picked up a little bit. But right now, I'm like, yes, I want to see what happens next. So I'm in an interesting predicament because I really don't like the mechanics of Battle for Azeroth. I hated artifact weapons, and it doesn't change when they change it from a weapon to a necklace, so I don't like that system really either. And I think Azerite armor is a poor man's shit replacement for new spells or new talents because they're all really passive. They don't do a super lot to affect your endgame gameplay. But story-wise, I'm intrigued where it goes, even if I still think, and I do to this day, that Drustvar is terrible. Might be one of the worst zones they've ever created in newer World of Warcraft, because it really has no relevance to either the Kul Tiras plot or even the plot as a whole of the expansion. I've seen some people say, like, maybe Gorak Tolan has something to do with the new Lich King and Bolvar and whatever he's doing, and I would be very surprised. I don't think Gorak Tol is going to be gone. We'll probably see him once more as a boss in something where we permanently kill him, but I very much doubt we're going to see him in relation to Sylvanas or the Lich King plot, which is both things I've seen and heard people say. So again, it's weird because I played a lot of the beta, and this is what everyone always says when I go, I don't really want to play because I don't like it, and everyone says, well, it's because you played it on the beta. And I'm like, no, I love Mists of Pandaria. It's my favorite expansion, and I played more of that during its testing than I played of Battle for Azeroth, and I did it on multiple characters, so I did it again and again and again, and I still love Mob. But I just can't get into Battle for Azeroth mechanically. I'm only at level 102. I kind of just gave up 20 or 30% of the way through Drustvar because I thought I could just get through the worst zone and be done with it. But no, I kind of just gave up, and I don't really have any enthusiastic wish to level my character, to be honest. So, I'm sure I'll get there eventually when I run out of things to do. But yeah, I'm very, my rambly point was, it's weird not wanting to play the game, but then be intrigued by the storyline for once. If they could just get both, I would be happy again. Blizzard, I want to be happy again with World of Warcraft. I promise, I do. I hate being critical of it all the time, and I hate that everyone thinks that I'm just some negative person who, hates everything that they do, because I don't. Clearly I don't. I was breaking down in the last Jaina video, so clearly I like some things still. But I am excited to see the story for the first time since Mists of Pandaria, to be honest. I didn't care about Warlords at all, and I already explained Legion. So since MoP, I'm super pumped to see what happens next. All of this cool stuff on the Alliance's side, I really feel like Christy Golden did a lot of that. So I'm really happy that we're seeing the fruits of her labor come to fruition so far, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you thought of those cool cinematics in the comments below. If you have any questions about anything, or you're confused about any of the story stuff, feel free to let me know, because I can answer them to the best of my ability. But until then, we'll see you for whatever happens next. I think this is the last cinematic of 8.0, but until then, Gamescom is in a week, and Blizzard is going to be there. Ian Hazacostas is making a keynote address. So I expect we'll probably even get 8.1 trailer, or something about that. So look forward to that. We might even get Warbringers, so that'll be cool. So look forward to that, and yeah, Final Fantasy XIV will be coming back soon once the fever pitch of B4A dies a little bit, so that, it gets some meager amount of views. But until then, stay awesome, and yeah, farewell.